Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of the Collider Games podcast. My name's Dennis Tzeng, and I'm with
Josh Weyers.
And we're back with another episode talking about the latest video game news. Not a huge week in big news this past week, but we've got some stuff. How's everything going there? I see you shaved. I have not.
Yeah, I was getting sick and tired of my quarantine beard. I'm very blessed to live very close to the ocean, but the salt air makes my beard so hard and so itchy. It was unbearable. But yeah, no, I just like feeling fresh sometimes, and a good shave makes you feel fresh. Which, yeah, I don't know. I'm happy though. How's things going on your side?
All right. We'll get into some of the stuff, but yeah, even though not a lot of big news in video game world, I did play a ton of video games this past week, which we'll get into in the upcoming news topics. I mean, let's start off with this one. I don't have a lot to say about this, but I just thought it was noteworthy. With the rumors is that the next Call of Duty game will be a new Black Ops, which makes sense because they've always been kind of switching off between Infinity Ward and Treyarch, and Treyarch does the Black Ops games. And they're saying that the next Black Ops will be called Black Ops Cold War, which is kind of connected.
Sounds pretty cool.
And it's also what the Cold War was kind of what they were dealing with story-wise and time-setting-wise in the first Black Ops. And so my guess is maybe they go to the 80s or something like that. But yeah, there was the Black Ops.
That would be really cool, actually.
Yeah, the Black Ops Cold War name first appeared on Twitter from a leaker, Okami13, and Eurogamers were reporting that they've heard from their sources about the same news. This is, we've got Call of Duty Warzone. Apparently, they said it was kind of teased in there when people found a Cold War spy plane glitching through the walls. So, so I'm interested in this. Like, I have to be honest with you. I haven't played much Call of Duty since probably maybe Modern Warfare 3 might have been the last one. I didn't really get into all the new when they went like Black Ops went into the future and all that stuff.
Yeah. It was. I mean, to be honest, it's just kind of the same for me. I think the Call of Duty I played the most was the original Modern Warfare. Like, I used to go to tournaments. Fun story about that. I actually sold my Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the original Modern Warfare, not the new one. I actually sold my nickname for like $100 because people wanted it. Like, I was.
What was it? Original. What was your nickname?
The Codfather. And people wanted it, man. I had people like emailing me, asking me like, I want to be the Codfather. And then, I gave it away one day. I was like, screw it. I don't care. Yeah, I played Modern Warfare the most. I still play the Modern Warfare remaster quite a lot, actually. Modern Warfare 2 was good. Modern Warfare 3 I didn't really play that much. The first Black Ops game, though, was phenomenal. That was like a game changer. The story was amazing. So I'm more excited for them to kind of go back to that because Black Ops 1, amazing. Black Ops 2, amazing. Black Ops 3, that's when they started losing the plot and they started like adding the whole double jumping, jetpack, wall running kind of stuff. And I liked that gameplay for a while. I did. I truly did. But then when they finally went back to like, having both feet on the ground and going to like a more old school type of fighting, it was just so much more refreshing and enjoyable. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It would make sense for them to like set it in the 70s, 80s, you know what I mean? With the first one being in the 60s. I think it'll be good. I don't want to see any freaking rocket power jumping or anything like that. Like, it's too much for me, I enjoyed it, but it was, I don't know, like I think Black Ops 3 pulled it off pretty well, but I think it's they saw a lot more popularity with their new game going back to its basics, and I hope that's what they're going to do with the new Black Ops game coming out. And I'm expecting an amazing story, because as far as I know, quote me if I'm wrong here, but there wasn't really much of a story in 3 or 4. Or was it 4? One of them was it was just multiplayer, because I think they were pushing their battle royale in Black Ops 4.
Yeah, I didn't really, other than the beta, I didn't really play it. Like I said, I'm one of the weird people who are all about the campaigns when it comes to the Call of Duty games and not so much the multiplayer. And it's probably because I suck.
Oh, dude. Do you remember the campaign for Modern Warfare? The original, dude. like I've memorized that original Modern Warfare campaign. It was so good. Same with the Black Ops one. We need a good campaign. I agree. I'm also one of those people that play the game for the campaign. I'll do multiplayer. I don't like to play multiplayer online. I'd rather have like a LAN, have some people come over and play locally amongst my friends and stuff. But yeah, I'm excited for a good story, a good campaign, a good Call of Duty campaign. Very excited for that.
Yeah, so it sounds like they're going to do the same thing with Black Ops, go back to old school, take it, simplify stuff some more. And because remember, these games are coming out like almost every year. How do you think this is going to affect Warzone? And will they transfer that over to Black Ops?
I mean, because I guess like with Black Ops 4, you had Warzone, or I'm pretty sure it was Warzone, whatever the battle royale was for that. I have a feeling that look, Warzone is free. So whether it's like you have to download a new version of Warzone, I'm not too sure. If they're smart about this, especially with like, well, it also depends when the game's going to come out. Like maybe they'll make Warzone its own standalone thing, or because obviously the engine's going to be different, right? They're going to probably end up using a different engine, I would imagine, for the next game. So either that means a new engine for a new Warzone and it will continue to be free. I have no idea how they're going to make the jump, or maybe they'll make it like cross. Like, I know the Warzone is cross-platform. I wonder if they'll make it like cross-console or like cross-generation as well. I'm not too. I don't know. It's an interesting concept to think of, but one thing's for certain: Warzone will definitely be there still. It's just getting more and more popular as each week goes by. The only thing that could possibly get rid of the hype right now is Valorant coming out in like a month or so.
Okay, let me ask you.
That's an interesting question though. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me actually take this one step further. Is the future of Call of Duty Warzone / free to play online multiplayer? Like, is the future of Call of Duty the Fortnite Apex Legends model with Warzone?
I think they're gonna.
Are we gonna still keep seeing Black Ops and Modern Warfare, or is this the future of Call of Duty?
I think that they're not going to ignore the whole battle royale Warzone aspect of things with microtransactions and that kind of stuff. I think that not just this developer studio, but most developers and studios in general have noticed that not even recently, but like the past 2 or 3 years have been good years for single player games. And even though Call of Duty is not a single player game, I think that they know that there is still money to be made in good campaigns, even though they skipped out on it on one of the Call of Duties. I don't know which one it was that they skipped out on the campaign, but interesting choice. I think that they're going to be pushed, like the games will still be sold, I'd imagine, just for the sake of the campaign and all the other multiplayer. I have a lot of friends who don't play Warzone at all. Like they just play Call of Duty Modern Warfare. They just like the base game modes. Like the Assault game mode is amazing. And then I have people who only play Warzone. So I think I think at some point in time, they're gonna completely separate the two. You know what I mean? Instead of having them like packaged and bundled together in the same game, I definitely see Warzone becoming its completely own standalone game eventually, where it's not going to be linked to whatever the latest Call of Duty is. I think it'll be its own thing. I mean, when you look at Fortnite and the success it had, not just the money it had, but like the impact it had on pop culture and the impact it has on marketing and advertising nowadays. I mean, everyone's putting a trailer in there, a music video in there. So I think that they want that, like everyone, like I'm waiting for Apex to start marketing in their game. I'm waiting for I'm blanking right now on the survival battle royale that I'm thinking, Darwin Project. I'm waiting for that to have like advertisements in it. It's only a matter of time. Warzone will most likely have some form of advertisement. Like I said, Apex, if they're smart and they make another Titanfall game, they'll actually have the trailer in a round of battle royale in Apex. Have the Titans show up or something.
How does that work though in Apex though? Because when like I said, I've talked before, I'm not really a big Fortnite player. I play some Apex. Apex is definitely much more up my speed. But the way that Apex is set up, if I remember correctly, or things have changed, it's not quite as social as Fortnite. Like Fortnite, people just walk around, sometimes they just don't want to fight. They're just like hanging out and whatnot.
They're just dancing or playing golf or whatever.
I don't really see that in Apex. I don't really see that in Apex. Apex seems I think
it would be different. Fortnite has this whole thing whenever they do an event that it's like there's a countdown timer, and then when the event is happening, there's no one can hurt anybody, like no one can cause any
Yeah.
damage when the event actually starts. I would see Apex, because it's a bit more like fast-paced first person in that aspect. I would imagine that they would just have two titans like fighting on the map or something. And then obviously the gameplay can just carry on. You just got to make sure you don't get stomped by a titan. Like if they put titans in the game for you to use, that would be exciting too. But I don't think that they would ever do that. But that's probably how they would advertise or market. You know what I mean? Even then, like I think of smaller things, like every single time you open up any battle royale game, it always tells you like the latest updates of the game or what's in the store that you can buy cosmetic wise. I would imagine that those pop-ups are eventually going to be like actual commercials. You know what I mean? It's gonna. I can't think of anything off the top of my head now, but I can definitely see it that way. Like Razer advertising their gaming gear in like in that kind of format.
Okay.
But I mean, speak while we're on the topic. I didn't add this to the list because I didn't think it was worth bringing it up. But people are speculating that Warzone is hiding a nuke function. Like they think that they're hiding a nuke in the game or in the map. And whether this is true or not, I don't know. But from a development point of view and a marketing point of view, it would make sense for me, because if you saw the huge success of Fortnite, where these big events happening, I'm not talking about like marketing for someone's album or movie, but like actual like in-game events just for the game, kind of telling the story, where you had Kevin, the giant cube, who showed up, and all these like there was the big mech battle that happened, and all these cool things that happened in Fortnite. I can definitely see Warzone wanting to add that in, where they add live events where it's like a nuke happens, and maybe that's how the next season starts. And so who knows, maybe there is a nuke in the game. Be exciting if there is. Let us know what you think in the comment section.
Yeah, it sounds like following that Fortnite path of changing things around for new seasons.
I mean, how do you give a multiplayer game a story? With, you know what I mean? How, like, that's without it being like a co-op kind of thing. Like you have to like have these events happen in the game, which I think would be quite exciting.
Yeah. So to transition to our next topic is when we're talking about these big games, obviously like Fortnite and Apex Legends. Fortnite debuted the trailer for Christopher Nolan's new movie Tenet. So let's talk about several things. There's like a lot of stuff to unpack in here. One, just the fact that it was debuted in Fortnite. I mean, obviously you can go online now and watch it on YouTube, but you know, the whole big thing was that Christopher Nolan wanted to put it into this kind of communal, also virtual big screen aspect in Fortnite. You know, they had John David Washington, who's the star, who I really like from Ballers and Black Klansman. I think it was Jeff Keighley that was interviewing him, and you know, and then they debuted the trailer on there. Now they're utilizing Fortnite's audience to get people excited about this movie. One, what'd you think about the event? And two, what'd you think about the trailer?
I didn't see the event itself.
Okay.
I actually only found out about this recently, but it would explain the 2.5 gig update that I had the other day. So it all came together. But I will say, based off of the last time they did something like this, which was for The Last Jedi, they showed a bunch of clips for The Last Jedi, threw in lightsabers in the game, and then who is the director again for Last Jedi?
J.J. Abrams. Or The Last Jedi was Ryan Johnson. Ryan Johnson was The Last Jedi, and J.J. was Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, you know what? I think it was for Rise of Skywalker then, or because I know J.J. Abrams was in the game. He was in Fortnite. He had his own character model. He was like on the stage talking about
Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, that was quite exciting. And for me, that was a very good marketing move. And I didn't like, because you want the younger kids to go see it. For Tenet, though, for like Christopher Nolan movie, because obviously Fortnite is, your demographic is much younger. So I'm wondering if this would even work out. And I see there's a tweet here where they spoke about how it's unfortunate that you can't go out to the movie theaters and see the trailer before you're watching a movie, which is how they would actually put this trailer out there besides YouTube, is with other movies. And so they said it's so cool to be able to see it in Fortnite. Now, I don't think this is something that they decided to do on a whim recently. It's probably been planned for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Which, by the way, while we're on the topic, shout out to my friend Jacques Walden, who's actually in this movie.
Nice.
Yeah, he wasn't able to talk about it for the longest time, but I'm looking forward to seeing him. It's definitely it works quite well. I didn't have the event. I didn't watch the event. Like I said, my worry is that this becomes too frequent. Right now, it's not that frequent, but if it becomes too frequent, it's going to be like people are not going to play the game as much, you know? Because it's like, for instance, the previous event, I really enjoyed the Travis Scott event, but my friend, like a couple of my friends, they don't like Travis Scott, they don't like the music, and they logged on. And they just wanted to play the freaking game, man. Then all of a sudden, you've got like a freaking like 60-foot Travis Scott walking around the map, like rapping, and they just want to shoot each other. So I don't know. I think it's a great move as well, because when is the movie itself coming out?
Well, that's the thing, is it used to have a release date. It was July, but now at the very end, everyone was like talking about on Twitter was coming to theaters. That's all it says at the end. It says coming. And everyone thinks it's going to say like in July or something, whatever.
It just is to theaters.
It's coming to theaters. Just to emphasize the point that this is not going to VOD, because Chris Nolan is a big proponent of the theatrical experience, which I'm going to get into as well. But yeah, so in terms of the trailer itself, I'll go backwards. I thought the trailer was great. It's very Inception-like, you know. It looks like Inception's twin brother, twin sister, just from the mood, the look, and everything.
I say that's the film. The film grain reminds me a lot of Inception.
Yeah. And just even the style of it. You even have Robert Pattinson walking and talking with John David Washington, talking about something much similar to when Leonardo DiCaprio and Ellen Page were walking and talking about some of the plot details. But it looks very, from a movie standpoint, I think it looks fantastic. I'm a big fan of Christopher Nolan. Dunkirk wasn't my favorite of his movies, and this to me is closer to what I expect from him, and I'm excited for it. Now, in terms of the Fortnite event, I'm kind of mixed on it. You know, one, I think it's cool that
let me just say this real quick. It wasn't as good as the previous events they've had as well. Obviously, they're limited in the way that they did it. Like, I saw there was a clip where it was literally just their faces on the screen rather than them being a character in the game, like having their own character model.
It was a screen with a video interview.
Pretty much what our podcast looks like, you know, which is like, it's cool, but I feel like a bit more effort could have gone into this and the presentation. I don't know, like as far as Fortnite events go, it wasn't that good, you know.
Well, when you're talking about, look, I'll be honest with you, with Travis Scott, like I don't really know him, I don't really know his music, whatever. But what you described to me sounds cool, right? Like a 60-foot version of him, like playing music, whatever.
Going to space, there's like planets floating around. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, where this is just like a virtual screen. So from what I heard, Christopher Nolan wanted to do it or signed off on it because, one, he knew that people couldn't go in the theaters to watch this. So, you know, seeing it online is obviously one way. And then doing this where you have a virtual screen is another version of like, but I have some, you know, criticisms of that. So one, the virtual screen in Fortnite is not comparable to, like, if you wanted a true virtual screen, it's in VR. If you've ever played VR and there's like virtual theaters in there, or if you ever play it and you see something big like either projected on a screen, you actually get that feeling of you're watching something on the big screen. Fortnite it's just a screen within a screen, right? And you have your character
and I mean, look,
some weird positions.
They can make that work. Like they made it work with the Star Wars thing. And the reason the Star Wars thing worked is because you were pretty much in the same situation. You're at Risky Reels. You're literally like in the game at like watching this like on an outside like movie screen kind of thing. But at least with the Star Wars one, while it was happening, they had like TIE fighters flying by in the air and like the Millennium Falcon, and like there were a bunch of extra things added to it, which I thought was quite cool. Whereas with this, it's exactly like you said, it's just a screen within a screen. Like another thing that they could have done that I think would have been relatively easy is just make the screen huge and put it in the sky instead. You know, like that would have, I think, caught people's attention more in terms of marketing and advertising. and it would have been a little bit more. It would have been a bit like cooler to watch if you're looking up at the sky and the screen might be too big for you to fill in, so you actually got to like move your mouse or your joystick to look around. And I don't know, that would have been my like idea on it. But I mean, what I really wonder, Dennis, what I really wonder is how much they paid for this. Because
I don't know.
That's the one question I have. Because I mean, surely they didn't pay nearly as much as what Travis Scott did or what Disney did, because those things were next level. Well, mind you, the Disney thing was, I guess the Disney thing was with Star Wars was easier to negotiate because Disney and Epic have pretty good negotiations in terms of their like games and stuff. They've had like so many Avengers costumes, and like they had an Avengers game mode. They brought Thanos into the game at one point in time. A bunch of cool stuff. So I don't know. I think that Epic is going to take a note out of their book from this, and because by no means is this a fail, but I don't.
No, it's not a fail at all. But I do think
I don't know. I hope that they step it up if they're going to keep doing this.
Yeah, I just don't know if it exactly did what it was supposed to do. Another thing too is, okay, so if Nolan wants to have that theatrical experience and he's trying to mimic that, like I said, VR is a much better platform for that. But the only problem with VR is the numbers. It's right now. It's much more niche, right? You're only reaching X amount of people, like maybe 1 million people versus 30 million people. So you have the access, and then two, another issue is, okay, you take your character and you kind of got to position yourself to make it look like you're watching a screen. One, like a lot of people's like their characters like head were like blocking the screen a little, and two, there's people that were just being idiots. Like I was watching some of the ones on YouTube where some guy was just throwing stuff like at other people and at the screen, right? While it's happening. Two, one guy, which is kind of funny, but also just ruins the whole experience if you're watching this thing for the first time. He got into what are those called? Because I don't play the game. The quad roadsters or what? What's the vehicle they drive?
The quad bikes.
The quad bikes. He was purposely driving them and like ramping like up into the air to block the screen.
I don't know if they have. Maybe they brought those back in the last.
No,
update,
I saw. Yeah, I forgot the name of the streamer. He's like a very popular streamer because he is like.
Because I know that they got boats. They've got boats in the game. They got helicopters in the game. I don't know if they brought. Maybe they brought the quad bikes back this past week. I haven't played
because this guy has like a few million views on his channel. Or sorry, a few million subscribers, and this video has a few million views. And he was watching it, and like this guy was just being.
Oh, that's so
troll.
Annoying,
and just, you know what I mean? So like you're taking away from that experience.
Well, here's what the Travis Scott experience did right. It limited your emotes for one. You know what I mean? And it was like it completely changed at some point in time, it made all the water in the game like a bouncy thing where you were just bouncing. If you were on the water, you were just bouncing. You couldn't really do anything else. And even when you were like on the stage watching Travis Scott, there were only 3 emotes you could do. Like it was a much more controlled event, and I think that's what they need to keep doing if they're going to do these, is keep the events a lot more controlled. And then also like I think honestly put on the friendly fire sooner, because when the Travis Scott thing happened, I literally I flew down, I went to the stage, then there's the countdown on the stage. It's like 2 minutes to go, but they hadn't turned off the killing yet, so I got killed, had to go into another game, and it was so stupid, just wanted to watch the event.
Yeah.
But yeah, trailer looks good. I mean, besides the actual thing in the video game, trailer looks good. I think Tenet's going to be amazing. I love Christopher Nolan. I love the film grain. I love the cinematography that I've seen so far. But yeah, as far as Fortnite events go, or showing something in a game, it was whatever. It was definitely at the bottom of the pile of the things that they've done in the past 2-3 years.
Yeah.
2.5 years, I guess.
Also with a theatrical component too. Look, most people nowadays watch trailers online, right? On YouTube. Way more people watch them on YouTube than in movie theaters. But for studios and their marketing departments, having a trailer shown in the theater is much more valuable, because to them, when you watch a trailer in the movie theater, that means you are an engaged movie purchaser, right? Like you go watch movies.
Yeah, you are their target audience.
Yeah, exactly. Market, yeah. Like it's worth like probably like 100 times. I don't know what the number is. I don't know what the algorithm is, but I'm sure worth like 100 times more than someone watching just a view on YouTube, right? Because anyone can watch a view on YouTube, and it's like that whole even the what was that, the Telltale Batman game, right? It had like millions and millions of views, and then how many people bought the games? In the hundreds of thousands. You know what I mean?
You got to know who you're advertising to, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's one of those things where if you're going to go up to a bunch of gamers and you're going to be like advertising them horse riding equipment, yeah, sure, maybe millions of people are going to see you advertising horse riding equipment, but you know, most of us most of us don't own horses.
Yeah,
you know, it's just it is what it is.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next topic. Iron Man, the VR demo is out now on the PS Store. You can download it. The full game comes out in July 3rd. They also released the trailer was nothing, but they had the first 19 minutes you can watch online. I'm excited for this one. I might even go back to the office where I left I've mentioned this on many episodes. The PSVR, I have two thoughts about it. The actual games I like. I think the actual experience of playing the games is actually fun, because I think they have a very the technology with it is actually pretty cool. But one, I don't like the controllers, and I don't like the setup of it. Right, it's like the breakout box plus the webcam. It's just kind of just a pain in the ass to do it. The way that the headset is very limiting.
It's very much like what year did the PSVR come out? Like 3 years ago. But the thing is, it's like the PSVR reminds me of like the first HTC Vive. You know, where it's like it was good, but nowadays most things are tetherless. You know what I mean? Or like you can be untethered, or there's less. You don't need all the cameras to set up all those things. So I agree. It's I know that they were planning with the PS5 to have that box be integrated into the PS5, so there's less things to be plugging in and around.
Yes.
And who knows with the I mean, well, actually, we're going to get into this a bit later. The haptic feedback, we'll talk about that later. But I very much enjoy the ergonomics of the PSVR headset. That's the one thing I enjoy most about it. Like I said, it's the most comfortable VR headset I've ever worn. It's also the most friendly for like if you're wearing glasses, any things like that. It has what I also enjoy about it is it has a good peripheral vision, because the screen kind of bends over a little bit, so you have that little extra bit of peripheral, which is so nice. Obviously, eye strain is a thing. And then what I found is that, obviously, it being on the PlayStation, you're always limited to these very cartoony-looking games, because the only way to have a good VR experience on the PSVR, from my experience, is to have this low-poly, low-res game, so that you got like your high FPS, low-poly kind of stuff, which is why like the cartoony stuff work. You know what I mean? That's why like Rick and Morty in VR work. That's why Job Simulator works.
Love that game.
Dude, yeah. Virtual reality, it's amazing.
Yeah.
That's why Super Hot works, you know what I mean? That's why all those games work quite well. Mind you, yes, I know people are going to say there are some things like Resident Evil 7 looked amazing on the PSVR. I was actually super impressed with how good that looked on the PSVR. I didn't like playing that game with the PSVR just purely because it made it less scary. Because it was this kind of thing of like, you could like stick your head inside the other player models. Like if the dude running towards you is scary until you clip through his arm or something, you know? But yeah, I will say, looking at the trailer right now, which is in front of me, it looks impressive considering it's on the PSVR. It's actually pretty impressive. Obviously, it's not going to look nearly as good as anything on the Vive or the Rift S or anything like that. But it looks fun. That's the one thing that I think they really got with it, is it looks fun. I think they learned from all their other previous free kind of like Marvel games that they had. Like they did I think 2 Spider-Man VR things, and those were like not that good, but I think they learned a lot from probably a different studio, but I think Marvel and Disney, the company, learned a lot from that people would appreciate, especially Iron Man. That's one of the best VR experiences you can have, because you've got Jarvis, you've got the interface, like it just makes sense, you know? So it does look quite fun. My friend Tyler has the PSVR, so I'm actually going to ask him what he thinks about it. He's going to try out the demo. Does look fun, so hopefully we'll hear from him what he thinks about it. And then wait, I see here that there's the PSVR bundle. What's this? Are they bundling? Is it?
Yeah, they're bundling the whatchamacallit. They're bundling the whole thing for $350, which this does not include your PS4. It's the VR headset, the PlayStation camera, which you need, and then 2 motion move controllers, the VR game on Blu-ray. So you're getting this whole, like, if you want to get as like a system seller, basically, they want to make sure.
I think the headset on its own costs like $299 if I'm wrong. So for the extra $50, you're getting the game, the camera, and the 2 controllers, which is not too bad of a deal. While we're on this topic, I'm starting to think, because here's the thing: the PSVR headset is actually really well built. As far as I know, it like the VR headset can handle more, but the PS4 is not outputting what it needs to output. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering, are they going to make a PSVR 2.0 for the PS5, or is the PS5 just finally going to be able to output on a level that really brings the current PSVR and pushes it to its fullest limits? You know?
I think it's the latter. I think PS5 is going to be able to upgrade in terms of the graphics. I mean, obviously, there's nothing they will be able to do about the ergonomics. It's nice that they're going to not have that breakout box anymore, so you can just plug straight in.
They're still obviously going to have it's obviously still going to have the cable. That's like something that you currently cannot unavoid. I mean, we even see it with the Quest. The Quest is untethered, but if you want to play the bigger games, you're going to have the cable, you know?
Yeah.
I'm going to blend these two in together real quick. We're going to touch more on the PS5. The new PS5 controller having haptic feedback, or we don't know yet, because the person who spoke about it, he's like, I signed an NDA. I don't know if I can talk about this. He talks about water droplets. So I'm assuming you can feel the water droplets on the controller, which makes no sense to me. Like, why would that be useful in any form, in any way? Like,
I don't think it's useful. It's just immersive, you know?
It's immersive, yeah. It's not useful, but even then, in terms of like immersion, like if they were like, oh, you can feel the bullets, I'm like, but I don't want to feel the bullets on my hand. That's useless. However, where I think that this would be useful is if they took the PlayStation Move controllers and added haptic feedback to that. That's where I think it would be useful. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that's something they do. A lot of people have complained about the PlayStation Move controllers. So I don't think they're going to change the headset at all, but I definitely think they're going to bring out new controllers at some point in time.
Because the Move controls are very limiting. I mean, it's very few. Very few buttons. You can't really do that. You know, where you have, you know, in the VR world, they're tending to be not too complicated, but I think they've kind of hit the right kind of compromise with something like the index controllers. I mean, even the new Oculus Touch controllers that come with the Rift S and the Quest, where it's like, okay, you have your trigger, you have a grip button, and then you have 2 regular buttons, where it's not too complicated, but it's enough to do a lot of cool stuff with it. Where the Move is just, you know, it's like, I think it's the trigger button, and then there's like kind of a up and down button.
Look, I mean, going back, the game, the game looks good. I want to say, like, the game looks, it doesn't look like it's anything particularly amazing or mind blowing. Like, I've seen a lot of people are saying good things about it. Obviously, people are relating it to the Batman VR, which was probably like that was like a launch title for the PSVR, and it was a really good PSVR title. So people are relating it a lot to that, but I don't know. I kind of saw the Arkham VR game that looked a bit more fun, and it was more of a story to it. So we'll see. Once again, it's not something I'm going to be able to test out and review anyways. But I do have a friend who is probably currently playing the demo right now as we speak, and he's going to tell me all about it. So hopefully, So next week, I can tell you guys about his experience playing it.
Yeah, I'm probably going to stop by the studio and go pick up the PSVR and then download the demo and just test it out and see.
Surely this would be on the Quest too, right?
I don't know. I mean, it's perfect for the Quest, but I don't know if it will be, because I don't know what the
licensing rights. Yeah.
Well, it's like it's not Spider-Man, so it doesn't have that Sony tie-in, but they might have just bought out the exclusivity. But also, it might just be a time thing, because right now, Vader Immortal has hit the PSVR, and Vader Immortal was like on Quest and Rift. Actually, it was Quest first, and then it came out on Rift like a month later. Now they're doing I think the second or third episode they were just doing them at the same time. But I remember the first
It all makes sense now, Dennis.
So,
I mean, like I think 100% it's going to come to other VR titles, but obviously right now the reason they're doing the bundle is because they're trying to push PSVR sales. So it's probably going to be on the PSVR for a while to try to push PSVR sales.
Probably like after a year. That's my guess.
At least. I'd imagine. I was going to say it's not going to be anything less than 6 months. That's for sure. Trying to get people to buy the PSVR, and then maybe next year sometime we'll see it hit the other things. But hey, if you're gonna pick up the PSVR, definitely let me know how it is and let the channel know.
Yeah, I'll at least play the demo and then I will decide whether I want to buy the game or not. We'll see.
You can do a review if you get it.
Yeah, exactly. I need to figure out how to do more reviews. Right now, just my place is so cluttered because I brought like a bunch of stuff from the studio back home and I don't really have that much space for everything. So I just got to figure out what the best way is to set up to do something more than just like I can't even stream right now with my setup other than PC games. Like I can't really stream on with PS4 or Xbox, at least not to YouTube. I think I can do it through Twitch, but we don't.
Do you have a capture card?
Well, they're using it. I had one, and they're using.
Oh, right. You told me last week. We spoke about this last week. Yeah.
So, anyways, so I got to figure something out so I can pump out some more gameplay stuff. But anyways, speaking of gameplay, I finally finished Life Alyx.
Nice. Yeah, finally got. I mean, obviously, no spoilers. Give us the no
spoilers. Me and Mark are supposed to do a spoiler review, but I don't think he's only I think halfway through it. All I have to say, I won't do any spoilers. All I have to say, it was amazing. One of the best gaming experiences I've ever had. It is a game changer. It takes everything you thought VR should be. That's what the game is. And people that are Half-Life fans themselves, anyone who watched the game like online versus playing it or played the non-VR mod, you wasted your I'm sorry, it's a shame. You wasted your
you wasted your time, you wasted your money.
Not wasted your time, but like you truly did not experience
the way it was intended.
Yeah, like you're missing out. Like you didn't get the full experience. There's no the way that
it's like watching that video. Oh God, this lag is gonna kill me one day. I swear to God. It's like watching that video of the guy who found the double rainbow. Like, yeah, it's nice to see the double rainbow, but imagine being the guy who actually saw the double rainbow. You know, that's the real treasure right there.
And the experience is different, and just the whole idea of someone playing this on 2D, like, and pressing a button to do the eject the cartridge and reload and press another button. And like, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. The way that is made is so that when you have the gun, it feels like a real gun. Ejecting the clip, it's a button too. But then when you have to actually go back to your back, pull out a cartridge, slam it in, cock the gun, like look at the different, all the different displays. Just everything is built for VR, and also that tension that you have throughout the game. There's never a ton of enemies in this game. It's just like 4 enemies is a lot in Life Alyx. And like
considering it's like a real 3D, I would imagine, yes. You know what I mean? Like you don't have that comfort of like just blasting like you've actually got to be aware if someone's behind you, you've got like, so it's like fighting 4 people in real life. It's going to be a lot, you know?
Yeah. Tension is all gone if you're not doing it in VR. So the immersiveness, the characters being there, like all like I mentioned, like there's one level that is super scary, and it's like you can't experience that in non VR. Anyways, it's funny though. Like if you think about it, when I was thinking about the game, it's like it's like that anti Fortnite Apex Legends type of game. Not that it's like against those games. It's like, one, it's not online. It's not multiplayer. You're not playing with anyone else. Yeah. It's story driven. 2, in terms of guns, you get 3 guns. That's it. There's 3 guns, and each gun you can upgrade to do different things, but it's all very focused on having the smooth experience, having it fit in the world. It's not about like having 100 different guns and doing 100 different things. It's weird. It's like simple but complex at the same time. So
Yeah,
I
no,
don't know.
It's something I definitely got to try out, man. Especially now that I would imagine the PC I'm getting can at least like. Well, have you've been playing Half-Life Alyx on your system?
Yes.
Okay, running it on the RTX 2060, you said, right?
Yes, RTX 2060. It's low fidelity. It's on low, but their low on Half-Life Alyx is still very, very good. It's still better than any other game that you've seen on VR.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to get, now that they're finally got, well, we'll get to the topic now, but now that they finally have some stock for the Oculus Quest, I'm definitely going to get it. The main reason I want to get the Quest is for my dad. Like I feel like VR could honestly blow away the older generation's mind in certain aspects. Like I want, especially with this lockdown going on, I really want to try to get myself a Quest so that I can take, my parents are a lot older. My dad's about to turn 70, and I wanted to, like, we can't go traveling, so I'd like to go traveling through the VR system. And then also bonus, I get to play VR games. I'll get the cable, of course. You were using the Quest, right? With the cable.
Okay,
or...
so so let's talk about this subject, since it deals with what I'm going through with the Quest and the Rift S, and also with this other topic, which is that the Oculus Quest is now back in stock. Now they have a 64 gig version and a 128 gig version. 64 is already sold out, so they got all this new stock in 64. Luckily, I got. That's part of what I want to talk about. Is I actually got my Oculus Quest yesterday. I ordered it, got the 64 gig version. I don't think you really need the 128, because unless you plan on watching a lot of movies and doing a lot of like other things on the Quest, in terms of games, 64 is good enough, because most games are usually around a gig, maybe a little more.
Really?
Yeah. The games are not big, man.
For VR? How big was Half-Life Alyx?
Well, that's a different story. So Half-Life Alyx is like 50, 60 gigs, but remember, that's on your PC. That's not on your Quest.
You'll be running. That makes sense. You'll be running it via the cable.
Yeah,
okay,
actually, I can.
That makes sense.
I'll look at it right now. Steam.
Once again, I guess the 128 gigs is only worth it if the Quest could do those games without the cable, where you could get the games on the Quest itself. But we're years away from that kind of stuff, Obviously, you can still be playing games like Super Hot, etc.
Yeah, Super Hot is a perfect, like Beat Saber. Those are all perfect. 70 gigs for Half-Life. That might include, I downloaded the Workshop plus a couple mods.
It's actually still surprisingly small, considering like modern day games. Like everything's 100 gigs nowadays or more.
Yeah. So now the other part of this story is, okay, you can get the Quest. I tested the Oculus Link. Now it works. It is not the same experience as
the Rift S.
Having the Rift S. Okay, so I have proclaimed before, and I still am 75% with this assessment, but I've lowered it from like 100%, right? Of like when I said there's no purpose to the Rift S, there is, but you really, one, have to have a lot of money to justify it, and two, you have to really be like, okay, this is the way I want to go. So if you're playing Half-Life Alyx, the best way obviously is to own a a Valve Index that has the best, resolution.
I'm looking at it right now.
The best everything, right? But in terms of like, I played Half-Life Alyx on the Rift S, which is not mine. It is Collider's. It's our company one. And I played it on that, and it was a great, experience. In terms of the Quest and the Oculus Link, which is, to be fair, still in beta, all it is it's streaming the video from your PC to your headset, which still has some issues in terms of the compression. The compression is not like you can, especially in dark areas, you can see a lot of compression. And I don't know if maybe I do not have the official Oculus Link cable, so maybe that's a different story. Maybe if I got that cable and everything would be fantastic and great or whatever. But I have a USB 3.1 that goes to all the specs that they require. And there is compression, and so you don't the fidelity of the resolution is not the same as playing on the Rift S. So you have that in factor. 2, the Quest is just not as comfortable as the Rift S. The Rift S is lighter, obviously, because it doesn't have to hold the all of the components in it. So the Quest is front heavy. It's not like unbearingly so. You can still play it. I would say like playing an hour to 2 at a time on the Quest is I think about the right amount of time. 1, the battery will run out anyways because it's not powered by anything else. And then 2, just fatigue in terms of the weight of it will start to get to you. Where the Rift S, I was able to power through more, do like 3-hour, 4-hour sessions on it versus 1 to 2 hours because it is a lighter component. So it is more comfortable. So I do stand by having the choice between a Rift S and Quest. I did choose the Quest. I got it. And I'm still glad about it, but I do now see where some of the shortcomings are with it versus the Rift S.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you've actually spoken about that because I'm sure I'm not the only person who is watching this or listening to this who's going to take that into consideration. I'm still leaning towards the Quest for accessibility and for others, for non-related like Half-Life Alyx kind of stuff. But I was literally looking at it now where I was like, I may as well, if I'm working towards something and I'm earning decent money, which right now I'm not because it's a lockdown. But afterwards we can think about the future. I was like, you know what? I'd like to get myself the Valve Index, and I just looked it up and realized that in giant bold letters on their website it just says not available in your country. And I was like, it doesn't even say out of stock. It just says not in your country. So I checked out the Oculus website, and they don't even have South Africa on the list. They're like, here are the other countries you can go. South Africa's not there. So, but they say you can get it on Amazon, and we have Amazon, so I'd imagine I can get it through Amazon. But I'm sad I can't get the Valve Index now. You know. Mind you, that would have been very expensive, but I would.
Yeah, it's
I would
like
not
$1,000, right? I think it's 1,000.
Yeah, it's
for
$1,000
the complete thing. Yeah.
But then again, it's like you're not gonna like, as far as I know, and you'll probably correct me if I'm wrong here. That'll last you for like you're not gonna need to upgrade for a while. You know what I mean? Like I think years. You're not gonna need an upgrade for years. Like even in 4 or 5 years from now, when they start bringing out like bigger, badder VR headsets, I'm sure the Valve Index can still at least hold up. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Until the games get to a point that it can't handle it. But if it's playing Half-Life Alyx, then I mean, I don't think we're gonna get a VR game as good as Half-Life Alyx for a long time. You know?
Well, that's the thing I forgot to mention in my review was that it set the bar so high now for VR that it's hard to go back and play other games. I mean, you can play them and you can still have fun with them, but they don't achieve the same bar. And it's easier with these casual games, right? Like a Beat Saber or even like Super Hot or whatever. That's different. But if you want to play like another game that's similar to Half-Life Alyx, that's like a first-person shooter that involves guns and whatever, like it's not the same. Like you'll always be thinking about how smooth, how great the graphics are, and also, to be fair, remember the Oculus Link is still in beta, so they're still improving the compression through the cable.
Oh, true.
Because now you can go through USB 2.0 now with it, but obviously it's lesser quality because it can't throughput as much. So they're constantly improving it. So hopefully, maybe it gets better and better, and then maybe the compression would get so good I won't have any complaints in terms of the fidelity of it, but the comfortability is still not quite as good. but I still stand by my choice because I still now can unattach from my PC and just play regular Oculus Quest games in any general area.
Yeah, well, that does make me a bit more optimistic, leaning towards, because like I said, now looking at my options, I couldn't get the Index even if I wanted to. So it would probably, my only options here is pretty much Oculus. So I'd probably get the Quest. And I mean, look, like you said, you just said it right now, that the link cable can only get better, right? The compression software can only get better. So surely at some point in time, what you said a long time ago will make sense, which is that the Rift S will eventually be obsolete, I would imagine.
Yeah.
You know?
There's rumors too right now that the next Oculus Quest is going to be a Quest Rift hybrid, and they're just going to get rid of.
Who is working on hand tracking again?
No, they have it. They have it now, but it's still in beta. But they have like hand tracking, which it's going to take honestly, a while. It works for certain things, but like for something like Life Alyx, it doesn't work.
I'd imagine unless it comes with like haptic gloves, that would be different. Exactly. If they make haptic gloves, yeah.
If you have haptic gloves, that's different. But in terms of like the experience of having the controller and it feels like a gun, and then you have haptic feedback when you're getting hit or when you fire and whatnot. To me, like the hand tracking is cool, but it's only for certain things, and I don't think FPS is that thing.
I see it being used in social situations more than anything,
Yeah. So
like if they set up like when they set up social media VR, I'd imagine the hand tracking would be useful then.
Yes. So that's my update on Life Alyx, Oculus Quest. I mean, I just got it in, so I'm gonna. I've obviously played with the Quest a lot already at the studio. Just having my own now, I'll be able to spend a little more time. And also just testing out, like I have the Walking Dead Saints and Sinner game, which is on Steam, and playing that through the link as well, and just seeing how that goes. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, should we jump into the next bit of information?
Let's talk about Anthem. Basically Anthem 2.0, which is not a sequel to the game. It is just them
fixing the game.
fixing the game. They're saying that it's not going to come out anytime soon. That's going to be a long process, and that the team that's working on it is a small team, but dedicated to it. So they can't just they're not spending like a whole like huge department to quote unquote fix the game.
It's like a 30-person team they've got working on it right now. Yeah. Currently working from home, they said, but the game's incubation phase has kicked off, whatever that means. I don't know. Here's the thing. Like, this is probably, maybe it's just the articles that I've seen written about this, but like no one's really coming at this with any positivity. And it's like, mind you, it's not a very positive thing, but it sounds so negative. It's like, hey guys, we're going to fix the game. Don't expect us fixing it anytime soon. The game's only been out for like what, more than a year now? It's like
it came out like March last year, so it's like a year, so a few months.
But it's like, so I love that. It's like, hey guys, look, we know we made a bad game. We put out a day 1 patch and a day 2 patch. We try to really fix things up. We know that there was a lot of broken mechanics, but we just want you to know that we're going to fix the game. But don't expect it anytime soon. It just seems a little negative to me. But it's also like, honestly, they should have just kept their mouths shut about this. And like, they should have looked at Hello Games and what they did with No Man's Sky. No one was more disappointed in No Man's Sky than me, because I pre-ordered, I waited. I literally did the thing where I stood outside a GameStop with a bunch of other people lined up waiting for like the 9 p.m. release. So disappointed when I finally got the game. But now the game is really still not what they really promised and what people were expecting, but it's leagues and miles different from what it was, and all the updates have been free. I mean, even the VR mode that they released for the game is free. You didn't have to rebuy the game to play it in VR. If you had the game, they released the VR mode, and if you had the PSVR, or even if you had it on PC or whatever, the VR mode is free. So all these updates are free. And whenever they spoke about the updates, it wasn't like, oh hey, look, in a year from now we're gonna release this update. They were like, okay guys, we've been working on this and it's coming out next month. Here's the update. Like, that would have been the smart choice for them to secretly work on this in their own time, and then like out of nowhere, like a month before the time, be like, look at how much better it is, and they show us that. So I don't know. I think it was just poor timing, poor choice. Honestly, with everything going on right now, there's so much shit going on in the world. They could have just kept their mouths quiet, and it would have been better PR, I think. Because we know that they announced that they're going to fix it and they're going to make changes. I think they should have just left it at that. They shouldn't have spoken about a delay or. I mean, I guess they probably put out this statement because people are asking, but then again, to say not to expect it anytime soon. Mind you, obviously it's because of what's going on right now with the pandemic, but they should have made more of a point of that, I think, being like, obviously it's going to take a while because of COVID.
Yeah, it's funny that both BioWare and Bethesda, which are two of my favorite studios, are both kind of in this place where they have a lot of bad PR from two games that they both rushed and released too early that caused a lot of negative reaction to. Now that they're trying to fix this, like I said with Fallout 76, with Wastelanders, is it 100% there? No, but it at least leads me to believe that they're at least somewhat back on track to understanding why people love the franchise, and that hopefully their next, whether it's Skyrim 5 or not 5, 6, and Starfield or whatever the next Fallout game, that they will know what people are expecting, and then also with BioWare, like knowing that, hey, rushing and releasing this game early to meet some deadline is not the right move to do. It's like do what Rockstar does, delay it a year if you have to. I mean, we saw Last of Us delay, we saw a lot of stuff delay.
Oh wait, who's the publisher? Because if I recall, it was the publisher that really screwed this up, in my opinion.
Who, for BioWare?
For Anthem, yeah.
For Anthem,
who's there, like
EA?
It's EA, right? Yeah, EA completely screwed BioWare on this, because it's essentially that epic trailer we saw at E3 years ago for Anthem that blew everyone away and was so exciting. That was just like test footage that they were showing EA. There was like, look, EA, this is what we could make. And then EA is like, great, let's show this at E3. And then BioWare was like, wait, hold on, we haven't made the game yet, And then they spent, it was either 6 months or 9 months in development, which is nothing. Nothing.
Yeah.
If you're looking at like CD Projekt Red, like they're working on this game they're working on Cyberpunk for years. You know what I mean? They're not going to spend 6 months developing the game and then get like that was. It's just, if it wasn't for EA, I truly think that Anthem would have been a lot better. You know what I mean? Because I don't from like all the research I've done, I don't think that anybody at BioWare even wanted to announce Anthem at that point in time, considering where they were in development. It just wasn't a smart choice, unless it was an existing IP before the time, like, look, when Final Fantasy VII Remake was announced, that was like, what, 4 or 5 years ago? It was 2016 or was it 2014? I don't know. It was so long ago that it's like, but it's Final Fantasy. People are willing to wait for an IP they know. You know what I mean?
Well, and they're willing to wait for quality, because then when it comes out and everyone's raving about it, that's just, I mean, nothing kills or makes a game succeed like word of mouth, man. Like,
exactly. And I mean, in my opinion, usually when you see these people, like they show you the trailer, and then years later, the game comes out. And obviously, like, the first trailer they showed you is usually this overly CGI. It looks like a masterpiece, but you're obviously not going to get that. In the case of Final Fantasy VII Remake, the game looks just like, when they first announced it, the graphics looked unreal to me. But here we are, 2020, and the game looks like that. It blew my mind. I was like, they not only kept their word, but like, I think I would even go as far as to say that it looks better, especially as soon as I got to play it. And the in-game lighting and atmosphere is so good. I don't know, man. The whole Anthem 2.0, don't expect it anytime soon thing. Like, I mean, yeah, it's a given. It's understandable because of the virus, but I just feel like there could have been a different way that they could have spoken about it or said it, And yeah, like, man, EA, if you're out there, if anybody's listening from EA, just leave your developers to do their thing, man. Stop pressuring them. Like, don't ever tell your developer, like, yo, look, you guys better show me something in 6 months or I'm scrapping the project. And I understand that they kind of have to be like that to keep things flowing. And like, they're not going to give people a bunch of money to make a game. Like, they're not going to take that risk unless they put deadlines in place like that. But, keep those deadlines private, I think, first of all. And don't do something silly where you take something that the developers have shown you of what the game could be and then release it as a trailer. you know, that's just a horrible idea. Oh wow.
All right, let's move on to the next one. We've got Riot Games has announced that Valorant is going to launch on June 2nd. They've done a month-long closed beta. This is supposed to be their Overwatch Counter-Strike hybrid. The style, the cartoon style looks a lot like Overwatch, but it is a little more geared towards like more, I wouldn't say realistic weapons, but not quite as fantastical as something like Overwatch, but it does have like the cartoon characters. So
it's gotten great like response from streamers, because obviously there was like, for good marketing and advertising, they gave codes to a lot of streamers, and a lot of streamers are playing the beta, which, while we're on that topic as well, on June 2nd, if you did play the beta, all of your progress will be reset. Everyone's going to start fresh on June 2nd. It's an interesting day to have the free-to-play game launch. I would imagine that they're going to have a battle pass or something like that, and it's going to start on June the 2nd as well, which is a little conflicting because June 2nd is when the next Fortnite season starts, and I think Valorant's going to be a much better game than Fortnite. But obviously, if you look at Fortnite, you have a lot more people are playing that game. The numbers haven't exactly gone down, so it's interesting to be launching the game when the next season of Fortnite's going to be launching. I would have just like done it. Honestly, if you did it like a day before the time, that's how people would have spent money on your game rather than on Fortnite, But look, dude, I think this game is going to blow up in like the most best possible way ever. It's going to be one of the most played games on Twitch, Mixer, YouTube, whatever you're streaming on. Tactical 5v5 shooters. It's exciting as well. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to get it on June 2nd, so I'll be streaming it as well in the oversaturated streaming market, but I don't care. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the look of the game, but apparently the gameplay mechanics in the actual game is amazing. More specifically, I'm not a fan of the art style, but screw it. Who cares? I'm not a fan of the Fortnite art style, but I play that because it's fun. So people are going to play the game. It's going to be fun. I'm curious to see what obviously it's going to be cosmetic stuff. That's just the way they're going to do it. But yeah, I see this game getting very popular, and it could honestly, at the rate, I don't know, I think it could even put Warzone. I think Warzone and Valorant are going to be competing. Fortnite's always going to be around because it's different, because it has building and it has like, it's more social, like you said, you're dancing and all these other things. But in terms of like, because even right now, like Apex has kind of fallen off. More people are playing Warzone than Apex, So I'm curious as to see what's going to happen. But there's also, they've just done such great marketing for this game. They knew what to do. They put the game in the hands of the gamers, and they let the game advertise for itself, which is very smart.
Yeah. All right. Next thing, we've got some Memorial Day sales. First thing is, if you didn't get GTA 5 for free on the Epic Game Stores, which I did, I still haven't played it yet though. This week is Civilization 6 for free. So if you haven't played that game and you're interested in it, you can get it on the Epic Game Store as well. But there's some other sales going on. It's weird because with Memorial Day, it's like, out of all the years, like Memorial Day this year is like, doesn't feel like anything because it's one, you can't go anywhere, right? Because usually it's like, oh, that's the time where you and your significant other or friends go somewhere or have a barbecue or hang out, and you can't do any of that. And then two, all the days blend together. It's like a 3-day weekend for, I don't know. It doesn't really feel.
Yeah, I kind of regret not having picked up GTA 5 on the Epic Game Store. The reason I didn't was because I was like, look, I've already got it on console. Actually, still currently I'm playing it. I've been playing it recently again. I never did the heists online, so I'm finally doing the heists. But my friend told me afterwards that Dennis, you're lucky because when you start GTA Online, you start with $1 million. Which is something that they never advertise. So you will have $1 million in your account when you start the game, which isn't enough for you to. In GTA,
what do you mean it's not enough for me?
It's enough for you to buy. It's enough for you to buy your CEO offices. But if you want yourself a DeLorean, that's like $2.5 million or more or something. Which you can get a DeLorean in the game. It flies and everything. It's pretty sick. But you get to start. So you get to, obviously, from what I was told, that money doesn't transfer. It only works if it's a new account. If you're doing a new Rockstar account, new GTA account. So I wouldn't, even if I got the game, I don't think I would have gotten $1 million unless I created a whole new account. But Civilization 6 being free for the next week makes sense to me because it's the Epic. If you got the Epic Games launcher, you've got it on your PC. You know, there's no Epic Games launcher on console. So Civilization 6 it's just a great game to play on computer. You know, with mouse and keyboard. I'm definitely going to get it. I love Civilization in general. I just love strategy games. I really hope that makes a comeback because, I mean, especially after Warcraft 3 Reforged, they're just, I mean, well, I guess the Total War series has been really good, but there hasn't been much good RTS games if you think about it, you know? I think, oh, you know what? Something else while we're on the topic, I didn't bring it up, but Command and Conquer 1 and 2, they've the developers have released the Command and Conquer 1 and 2 source code so people can make mods and stuff.
Yeah,
which is quite about that. Yeah, that's quite interesting. Yeah, but yeah, if you're watching this right now and you have a PC and you like PC gaming, pick up Civilization 6 for free on the Epic Game Store.
Okay. Also some sales like GameStop. They have a
hold up while we're at it. Sorry, well on the Epic Game Store here, yeah. By getting Civilization 6, you also get it $10 off on any game priced $15 or more. So that's cool. You so you can technically pick up a game for $5 if it's $15, you know what I mean? That's quite cool. So you get Civilization 6 and you get a $10 coupon. Yeah, as you were saying?
I was going to say there's just some more sales like GameStop has a buy 2 get 1 free. This is Final Fantasy 7, Neo 2, Persona 5, MLB The Show 20. So if you buy 2, you get one of them free.
Persona 5, by the way, if anybody likes JRPGs, Persona 5 has been amazing. I've also heard really good things about Persona 5 Royale. Just throwing that out there.
For Xbox One, they have Resident Evil 3, Doom Eternal, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. So buying 2 of those. The only problem with that is I have 2 of those 4. So let's say I want to get Doom Eternal and Modern Warfare, which I don't own. What would I get for free? Because I already have the other 2. So
I guess you'd probably just get screwed. Yeah. I hate it when that happens because like I'll always buy them. I'll always end up like I'll buy a game and then I'll see a really cheap bundle on sale and like I'll already own 2 of the games, but it'll still end up being cheaper to buy the bundle to get the cheaper game. It's always weird how that works.
Yeah.
I guess this is an interesting. Oh yeah, there's more sales. Go for it.
I was just say Best Buy has Assassin's Creed Odyssey both on the PS4 and Xbox One for $14.99. So that's
a great deal.
Borderlands 3 is $20. Witcher 3, the complete edition, is $20. So those are some nice games to get.
So here's an interesting topic. I don't know if you saw, I sent you the link to this, but 2K Games, I love how they wrote this article. Rockstar Games, parent company, says it'll release 93 games over the next 5 years. Dude, everyone knows 2K Games. Why do you have to say their parent? Just say 2K Games. Come on. Anyways, yeah, 2K Games is going to release 93 games over the next 5 years, which is crazy. But I guess, well, mind you, 2K Games does own a lot of developers, but 93 games in 5 years?
Some of them are like casual games and arcadey games. So some of those are like full on,
or like indie games and stuff, you know?
Yeah. But still, that's a lot of games regardless. But it's crazy how the marketplace can sustain that many games. Like every year when there's like all these big titles, I'm like, wow, can it? Because, you know, when I think of games, it's like that's a much bigger investment than like.
Oh, they actually have it broken down here for you. It's 93 titles, 63 core experiences, so like 63 proper games, 17 mid-core games, and then 12 casual arcade titles. So it's the bulk of it is going to be actual games. They said it's going to start about 2022. 2022, they're just going to start pumping out games, which, as we've spoken about before, well, I guess if you've got enough developers and it's being done by enough different teams and enough different developers, it could work out well. But I see this being bad for them. You know, like it's oversaturated. I think it's too many games in a 5 year space. You know what I mean? I mean, that's a lot, dude. Like 93 games in 5 years. I don't know how many of those games are actually going to be successful. Do you think they're just casting a wide net, hoping that some of those are going to be amazing, or like.
Well, that's the thing is like, it's like the movie model now, where it's like you just need that one big hit that funds everything else, right? Like with Epic,
Sure.
they have Fortnite, so
and it funded everything else. Yeah,
it funds everything. The whole thing with Life Alyx is, dude, they don't care about making money with that game. I mean, the whole purpose of that is to further the VR genre and also to promote their VR system, which is the Valve Index, because they make so much money off Steam, it doesn't matter. So it's like getting the one big movie blockbuster that will fund all these other things. So yeah, they do that, and they're in the hopes of getting 2 or 3 of those like big money makers.
I think for me personally, one of the main reasons Half-Life Alyx happened was because Gabe Newell just decided to do it. I don't think Gabe Newell gave a crap about the profits or about what the people wanted. I think he just sat there and he said, "You know what? We're not going to do Half-Life 3. But let's make a Half-Life VR game," because I feel like he wanted to play it more than anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it moves technology forward, and he's all about that. So
and like we spoke about before, the Valve Index, they're being produced by Valve. They're not being produced in China or anything like it's in, I believe it's in their own studios in America. Sorry, their own production offices in America, made in America kind of thing. As far as I know, they're making it in-house by themselves. Like they built like the machines to pump it out themselves and mass produce it themselves. So it's definitely in their favor, for sure.
Yeah. What else do we got going on here?
A light thing to bring up real quick is the Saints Row 3 remaster. Only thing I can say about it is because I loved Saints Row 3. It looks amazing. Saints Row 3, the remaster, it does look really good, but everyone's kind of saying it looks like a brand new game, but it still feels like an old game, which makes sense. It's a remastered, and it's like it's one of those games where I had a lot of fun with it back in the day, but I'd rather just play GTA 5 now. If I was going to play one of those kind of chaotic sandbox games, or even Just Cause, for instance. So I don't know. I personally wouldn't be hopping into it anytime soon. It did have a co-op mode, which is nice. Like, I don't know. Most games like this don't usually have a co-op mode. Like, it'd be sick to play GTA 5 co-op with friends and actually do the storyline co-op, but that was not an option. It wasn't Saints Row 3 though. But yeah, so the remastered, I thought it was worth bringing up. And then we spoke about it briefly, but then the PS5 DualSense, one of the developers are hinting at the fact that there's haptic feedback, which like we spoke about earlier, I don't think it's useful. Is it immersive? Yes, it's immersive. Am I going to turn it off as soon as I get my PlayStation 5? Yes. I think it would be distracting, if anything else.
Yeah. So yeah, speaking of controllers, here is my PS5 controller here that keeps spinning. Apparently this is like a big...
That's your PS4 controller.
PS4 controller. Yeah. Apparently this is like a thing. Like a ton of people have this problem. And I tried doing all the stuff that they suggested, and it's still messed up. I can't play Last of Us because I've been playing Last of Us. I'm about halfway through the game. I told everyone my story of how hard it is to finish Last of Us with all the like issues that I've had. Game's great. I'm not getting the optimal experience because I'm playing it like, years apart, and then now picking it back again and restarting it, and then getting back past where I was, and then having fun with it, and now my controller like spinning out of control, and I don't know what to do.
That's brand new, right? You got
this in $60, like October, I think. The whole PS4 system, and remember, I barely played it. I played about 7 or 8 hours of Death Stranding.
Did you get not that this matters, because it kind of matters. There are like the PS4 controllers, they all look the same, but there are 2 very different types. I know one has like a better Bluetooth option and things like that. Did you get the PS4 you got? What is it? It was the newer model, right? Where it kind of looks a bit more slim. Yeah, the slim one. Yeah, that comes with the new controller, so you shouldn't have any issues. That's it. Have you tried unscrewing
I think it's a physical issue.
Have you tried taking it apart? Because what I do is sometimes to like fix my dead zone, I'll take a screwdriver, take apart the entire controller, and then I'll actually clean out the analogs and I'll put them back in, and that usually for me helps out like the problems.
That's my last step, which I've ordered.
The toolkit.
I ordered the Phillips screwdriver 00 to open it up, which
it's actually a small screwdriver.
comes in tomorrow. So that's what I'm doing. I mean, to me right now, the controller is a lost cause, and I don't feel like paying $60 for another controller.
Yeah.
You know, it's just pissing me off on this long line of issues I've been
It's
having.
like someone doesn't want you to play the game.
Exactly.
You know what's going
to
happen,
finish the
Dennis?
game so I could play Last of Us Part 2 in June, which is right around the corner. And at this rate, I could finish it, right? I could probably finish it in the next 2 weeks if I had this working. But who knows? Tomorrow's the big if.
We'll find out. That's for sure. We'll keep us posted about that. Yeah, I think that's about it for this podcast, though.
Yeah. So yeah, I finished Life Alyx. I want to play Last of Us Part 1, but I'm trying to figure out how. I put Fallout 76 Wastelanders on hold just so I could do these other 2 games, but now I'm kind of at a standstill. So either I fix my controller tomorrow and get back on Last of Us Part 1, or I go back to Fallout 76 Wastelanders and then also start playing like Walking Dead Saints and Sinners or some other. I'm going to kind of look at No Man's Sky and see how that is in terms of VR. I'm going to check out to see what people are saying about the VR mode on that.
Oh, dude. Actually, I'll tell you right now, the best thing about No Man's Sky VR is just flying through space. Put on some David Bowie, fly through space, and it's so. My friend Tyler was playing it, and they actually revamped the spaceships and everything have been revamped, because previously is you get in the ship, you fly it, and you can see the console in front of you, but now they actually had to add controls so that you're actually grabbing like controls for the ship and you're actually moving it around and like you're actually piloting. And apparently that's just the best part. Like the vehicles in the game are just so much fun to use now.
Yeah.
So I'm jealous. I hope you have fun with that.
Yeah. So that's it for me. What are you playing right now?
I've been playing a lot of Warzone. I've been still playing a lot of Minecraft. Like I said, it's just been like peaceful. I'm not even trying to finish the game. I told myself I'm going to finish the game, beat the Ender Dragon, kind of finish it. But I've just been fishing and farming, man. Like, and it's like there's no real point to it, but it's just so calming. So I've been playing a lot of Minecraft, playing a lot of Warzone. My PC is supposed to get here on Tuesday. So once that's up, I'm going to start probably streaming some Warzone and stuff. Yeah, that's mainly what I've been playing for the most part, and a bunch of like small arcadey games with my nephew and my niece.
Cool. All right, let people know where they can find you.
Right now, you guys can find me right here in the Collider Games podcast, or you can find me on Instagram at josh.toki, and you guys can find me on Twitch at josh_toki. I should be streaming. I'm probably gonna be streaming every Friday, which will be like Thursday evenings in America, I guess. I don't know. The time difference is weird.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero, Instagram, Dennis.tzng. Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, youtube.com/Collider Games. Also, subscribe to this podcast on the Collider Factory feed. And until next week, we'll see you guys later.
See you next week.